Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about something that is very serious that's been in the news and been happening for quite some time, and that is the conflict between the United States and Iran. So with the little bit of information I have, I thought I'd assess what I could looking at the chart of Iran, the country's chart, as well as their leader, their supreme leader, which is Ali Khamenei. And looking at these two charts, there's something very specific that stands out, especially for Ali Khamenei, because look at his birthday. Now, that's another issue. I found different birthdays, but most people agree that this is his birthday. There was another one that was in July, same year. But, you know, sometimes their births don't get registered till way after, especially way back then and in Iran. And I had some people tell me that this was his birthday, which is April 9th, 1939. We don't have a time, and all we can base it on really is where the sun is, where all the planets are, what signs they're in, but even the moon changes signs in the middle of the day, so we can't base it on the moon sign. And so many people ask me over and over, how can you look at the moon and the ascendant? There are so many aspects to ourselves. It is not black and white. The moon is how you're feeling about things, and it's vitally important to look at all the planets where they are in relationship to the moon. It's not just one thing or the other. We have feelings, emotions, everything. But the sun is our spirit. The sun is the same degree the entire day, so we can count on this stellium of planets that he has in Pisces. Now, what I can't get over, which is hugely important to be made aware of, is that his birthday falls on the total solar eclipse. April 9th, 2024, we have the solar eclipse. Therefore, his sun is going to be the degree of the eclipse and where Rahu is. This is really tough. This is hard on the physical body, the constitution, particularly of somebody of his age. This is intense. It means he is going through a massive amount of pressure. So things are up. Things are happening for Iran by the fact that their leader has this eclipse. So Rahu, in essence, has already crossed over his natal Saturn. A stellium of planets means 3 or more planets altogether, and he has 4. So each one of those planets are going to get crossed by Rahu. Now, first, it's already gone through over Saturn, so things are really, really getting hyped up with him in his country. Rahu is on his sun as we speak, and then it will cross over still his Mercury and his Jupiter. Rahu is a wild card, and with the eclipse energy here, things are heating up in Iran, and it is very, very stressful for their leader with this combination crossing over 4 of his planets. It is intense. So let's look now at the country Iran. And looking at the country of Iran, the time that I have is April 1st of 1979. And there was actually some other dates, of course, to make things more confusing, that people were talking about the return of the Ayatollah Khomeini, which happened in February 1st of 1979. But this chart is the country. This works. So let me just continue on. Comparing this chart to the USA chart that I use, there are some stark aspects that we need to be aware of. And the first thing that stands out in my mind is Pluto. Now, Pluto is the planet that when it was discovered, atomic energy came into the world. And therefore, I think there's a lot of symbolism looking at these charts because Pluto is what connects the USA chart and Iran. Looking at the United States chart, look at where Saturn sits in the 10th house of the United States chart. It sits at 24 degrees of Virgo. And if you go to Iran's chart, their Pluto sits at 24 degrees of Virgo. And to me, that can mean the fear that there could be atomic energy that is directed what? Well, I'd have to say towards the United States with their Pluto on Saturn. And Saturn sits in the 10th house dealing with the government of the US. And Pluto, their Pluto sits right there. Now, when I go over to the chart of Iran and I put the United States Pluto in their chart, it's almost exactly opposed their Jupiter, because the USA Pluto sits at 6 degrees of Capricorn in opposition to their Jupiter at 5 degrees 30 minutes of Cancer. And I have to say, there is a critical time, I think, coming May and April, looking at their leader's chart, going back to his chart, I'm seeing some serious times for him. And that is April 22nd through May 31st. The reason why I'm pointing this out is I know where his 4 planets sit in Pisces. And that's when Mars will be in Pisces. Mars is violence. Mars is weapons. Mars is explosions. Mars is war. And in that period between April and May through the end of May, Mars will be crossing over all of his planets in Pisces. And Mars conjunct the Sun will actually be May 15th. That is a dangerous time. And that could mean there's violence and war going on in his country. That is what I can say from the charts, looking at where the transit of Mars hits. Now, even for Iran, Mars is going to be aspecting, will be conjunct natal Mars, Mercury, and the Sun during that time, April through May. And also, another thing that I noted is that when Mars is in Pisces during that time, it will be aspecting the United States stellium of planets in Gemini, because the United States has Mars, Venus, Jupiter, and Sun in Gemini. Mars will be squaring all those planets. So this is a critical time, must be scrutinized, and we must be very careful. Also, I was noticing there's a time when I think the world is going to be in a very difficult place, and that is when Mars goes retrograde in December of 2024. But prior to that, October, I am seeing something big happening, will of course affect the elections. There's a solar eclipse at that point in time that will create an enormous change. There's going to be something that may even prevent our elections. And if that's not the case, something serious will happen. And I think it will affect the elections. And then by December, if we have the elections in the United States, there will be all-out chaos by December. And that will be when Mars will be stationing around 11, 12 degrees of Cancer. And if you look at it in the United States chart, it will be in the 8th house. That is very, very dangerous. And when I look at the chart of where Mars is going to be in the United States, no, in Iran, it's going to be in their 1st house. And it will have crossed over their Jupiter. And that's the critical point. One more note I want to make from here is when I look at the chart of Iran, their K2 is 23 degrees of Aquarius, which is almost exactly in a trinal aspect to the sun of the United States chart, which means the leader of the US is in danger. And I think that this may be down the road once we're into 2025. But there is so much about to unfold. Just glancing at these charts, knowing the eclipse, knowing that it hits the leader of Iran, for Khamenei, it's going to be serious. Now, another thing I want to say is nothing's fixed in stone and we can shift the energy. But this is where the energy could go. So we have to pray for peace and know that we will be protected, and things always happen for a divine reason. And that reason is to bring a better world. So let's just look at this as a precautionary measure to help us. And that's what astrology should be used for, to help guide us, give us caution, and also let us know when is the best times to move forward and when are the times to pull back. That's what we use astrology for. But this was just a little bit of information. I will be carrying on with much more information as the days go and I get more information on charts as well as what's unfolding in the world. So with that, I think I'll close. Remember, if you would like information on me, want to sign up for my free newsletter, go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. And there you can sign up for my free newsletter and become a member of my Patreon page, where I give explicit, uncensored information about all of this. If you think I have information that I will not release other places, but only on Patreon. Plus, you're going to get so many discounts on things that I do. You can even win a free reading with me and talk with me live every week. There's 2 live classes I do. So check out my Patreon page. There's a link down below. You can go directly to it, become a member, become part of our community. And if you've ever wanted to learn Vedic astrology, don't forget, I have a university, all online, self-paced. Go to universityofvedicastrology.com. Thank you.